They have more billionaires than anybody else for whom they manage money, right? Ultra high net worth are their classic clients. They've got a great franchise there. And he says that when he looks at what his clients are doing, they're carrying higher levels in cash than average, upper 20%. And historically, when they're very confident, they're down around 15%. One of the reasons is the potential for a trade war.
I'm starting to worry not necessarily about the rhetoric and what's going on, but it still looks very challenging momentum with, threat and actions being taken. I'm a little worried that once these things are going to get out of control, once, somebody's going to announce something that, then trigger a more serious issue. So we shouldn't underestimate, from a risk standpoint of view, I would say that geopolitical risks seems to be under control, but this one of protectionism could really, together with an acceleration of interest rate hike by the Fed or triggers something more of a concern in financial markets.
Like what?
An acceleration of this rhetoric, actions being taken on protectionism. Mm-hmm. So, the next round, coming from any side, Europe, US, China, you name it. Something that goes into a territory where the escalation of measures that are taken starts to, impact business sentiment, growth, which we shouldn't forget. In many countries, we are at the top of a cyclical
cycle
peak of the cycle. So I think that there is not a lot of room. If you look at asset classes, are priced quite high across the board. Expectations for business profitabilities are quite high. So financial markets are not ready for any major discontinuity in terms of growth and commercial and the commercial ties between countries. Yeah.
How would you describe the markets at this moment? Are they frothy? Are they?
They are not priced for perfection, but we are not far away from that. I think that's across the board. I think that of course you can still see value in equities, but also there the expectation for growth and profitability is pretty high. And if I look at credit. It's priced quite expensively. If I look at other assets outside, like real estate and you name it. I mean, you look across the board, a lot of assets are on the expensive end, and the trend can continue. So it's very important from our standpoint of view to be diversified. There's still a good momentum, but there is no room for major discontinuity, both from a trade relationships between countries or disappointments on results, and last but not least, a huge acceleration of rates, particularly in the U.S., could trigger a little bit more of a downturn in the market.
So he brought that up several times during the interview, the potential for rising interest rates, although in theory that would help banks like his because of the steepening yield curve, but at the same time it could lead to dislocation in markets if it were to happen in the United States faster than a lot of folks expected.
You made the point that this is high net worth individuals who are doing this. Did he clarify, is this what the high net worth individuals are telling them or what the bank sees and is advising those high net worth individuals, or is it both?
So there's two types of clients, right? There are the people who say, manage my money, give me some advice, I'll generally follow what you do. And then there are those who say, I'm going to decide for myself what I'm going to do. And those are the people that are carrying higher levels of cash.
Wow.
Because they tend to be entrepreneurs who, if they're going to invest, they tend to invest in their own business, right?
So they see what's happening in the markets that they serve.
Yes, exactly. And so that's why he says it's particularly notable of the high levels of cash.
What did they say about the summit with North Korea?
So that was one of the geopolitical risks that he was quite worried about. That seems to have, at least for now, resolved itself. But they had gamed it out and internally and said, well, what if something goes wrong? What if there's something wrong with the command and control in North Korea? What if, God forbid, there's something horrific that happens? He says, there's a 20% decline in markets in a single day or two is a possibility. So he was quite relieved to see the tension brought down.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.